If you live in a bustling city like Dhaka, you've probably asked yourself the ultimate question: rent or buy? Now, we all get the dream of owning your own home. It runs deep. But in today's world, we're going to break down why renting might just be the smarter, more strategic move.
You know, for generations, owning a home was the goal. It was a sign of stability, of success. But as cities like Dhaka keep growing and changing, the path to that dream has gotten incredibly challenging. So, is it an impossible dream? Well, maybe not, but it's definitely worth asking if it's still the right dream for everyone right now.
Okay, let's dive right into the first big hurdle. We're talking about those prime spots, places like Gulshan, Bashundhara residential area, and Dhanmondi. I mean, they're fantastic places to live, no doubt, with great amenities and security. But the cost of buying property there, it's just gone through the roof, creating a massive barrier for so many people.
And this is a really key point, right? Buying a home isn't a one-and-done deal. It's this huge, ongoing financial commitment. First, you have the massive price tag of the property itself. Then, you have to pile on all the registration costs and legal fees. And on top of all that, you're usually staring down a loan that could last for decades. That is a heavy weight to carry, for sure.
So if buying is this giant financial mountain to climb, what does the other path look like? Well, this brings us to the absolute core of the argument for renting: financial flexibility. And this isn't about, giving up on a dream. It's about taking control, unlocking your money, and honestly reducing a whole lot of stress.
Let's just think about the entry point. To buy a flat, you need this substantial down payment, something that can take years and years to save up. But for a rental, you're typically just talking about a security deposit and maybe a couple of months' rent in advance. This makes living in those same amazing areas accessible right now without totally draining your life savings. And here's a big one, a really big one: freedom from debt. A home loan is a 15, 20, even 25-year commitment. I mean, that's potentially a quarter of a century of these huge fixed payments going to a bank, no matter what happens in your life. Renting just completely lifts that long-term burden right off your shoulders.
This is so important. By not locking up all your cash in a property, your money stays liquid. And what does that mean? It means it's available. It's there if you want to invest in a business, fund your kids' education, or, and this is crucial, it's there to act as a safety net for emergencies. That kind of flexibility, in today's world, that is priceless. But hey, the benefits don't just stop with your bank account. Let's talk about how this actually translates into a better lifestyle. We're talking about getting access to a premium way of living, but without all the heavy burdens that usually come with it. Think of it like getting all the perks with none of the pain. Just take a look at this list. A leaky pipe or some crazy electrical issue? Yeah, that's the landlord's problem, not yours. You often get access to modern stuff like 24/7 security in gyms without having to pay for them as an owner. Plus, with the market for furnished apartments growing, you can literally just walk in with your suitcase and start living, skipping the whole nightmare of buying and moving furniture. All of this adds up to a seriously reduced mental burden, which is a huge asset in a city like Dhaka. And this is a perfect real-world example. Dhaka is a dynamic city. Let's say you land a fantastic new job, but it's across town in Gulshan. If you're renting, okay, no big deal. You can move. But if you own, wow. Now you're stuck with the incredibly stressful and long process of trying to sell your property. Renting gives you the freedom to adapt as your life changes. Okay, this chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Look at the huge differences. Upfront cost, low for renting, sky high for buying. Flexibility, high versus pretty limited. And now look at the monthly cost. For renters, it's predictable. But for owners, you've got your loan payment, your EMI, plus you've got to cover all the maintenance and service charges yourself. The numbers just don't lie. So when you put it all together, you see that we really need to reframe how we think about renting. It's not some kind of backup plan or a temporary fix. In a city like Dhaka today, it's actually a really smart, strategic choice for your finances and your life. This quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. It's all about shifting how you see it. It's about looking at the real world, at the real market, and making the smartest decision for your personal situation right here and now. So, what this all boils down to is that renting lets you have the best of both worlds. You get to enjoy the lifestyle, the security, and the convenience of a great location today without locking yourself into a decision that limits your future tomorrow. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. In a world that is always changing, what's more valuable to you? The idea of a fixed, permanent address, or the power and freedom of a flexible future? The answer might just change how you think about home.